Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, hanging out with you where sports meets that thing called life. Cafe Kubal, 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, and 401 South Salina Street in Syracuse, on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in North Syracuse in their drive-through location, and on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius. Y'all need to get yourself some Cafe Kubal on the way to the game this Friday night at 8 p.m. because it is going to be a cold one. However, we're ready for it. Friday, November 18th. Very excited. West Genesee, the Section 3 Class A champion, will face the Section 4 Class A champion, Union-Endicott. And my buddy here, Mr. Tom Baleno, the head coach of Union-Endicott and their Tigers. Mr. Baleno, how are you?
I'm doing great. Glad to see you. How you been?
I've been doing very well. And like I said, I didn't think people knew that a Union-Endicott gave you an SEC type of office. And we're calling this your office right now. You look out over them rolling hills that I know all too well of the Binghamton Southern Tier. You got the windows right there, got the field outside. You're looking like Nick Saban right now or a Lane Kiffin, which is kind of nice.
Well, I don't know if I could coach like them, but I can pretend I'm them once in a while.
So I'm happy to have you here. And you know what? They win, and so do you. And Union-Endicott made a presence for itself last season in the postseason. You're doing it again. First and foremost, congratulations on your Section 4 Class A championship.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Our boys are playing pretty well right now, so we're excited to see that. It's always feels good when you start seeing things start to click a little bit. So you're working with high school kids, and you keep on. You might say the same thing 100 times, and then the 101st time they finally do it, and that's exciting. So that's what coaching and teaching is all about.
And some of those things, like you say, if you say something 100 times and then it finally clicks, what are some of those things you were saying at the beginning of the season that you had to say 100 times, and now you're looking at it going, okay, I'm starting to see it?
Well, a lot of it's just paying attention to the details. Using the proper technique. Reading the right keys. Before the play and during the play, and a lot of times, working with 17-year-olds, they think that their way is the best way, and once they start buying into your way, right, and the way that you're coaching them and what to look for, and then having the courage to try it, work out of their comfort zone. Once they start to work out of their comfort zone, that's when they grow. So that's how we all grow in life, right? You have to kind of stretch your limits and work out of your comfort zone, and that's how you grow as a person.
Yeah, and taking a look at, the growth that this team has had over the season thus far. You and I talked about the fact the first game of the season on September 10th, lost to Maine Endwell in a non-league game 14-0. And then you didn't lose a game after that, have been 9-0 since, including all the way through the postseason that you had here. So just bring me into what it was about that Maine Endwell game that kind of taught you guys who you are, and then you never lost again after that. What was it about that Maine Endwell game being a teachable moment that has continued to help the team as you progressed?
Well, Maynell was a very good team. So playing them, we knew we were going to have our hands full, and we certainly did. And we had a lot of seniors coming back. So we're pretty senior heavy. We have about 20 seniors on the team out of a roster of 47. So a lot of those guys have experienced success throughout. So they've been very successful in Pee Wees, through Modified, through JV, and then even last year. So I think starting off with a tough opponent kind of helped them kind of like dial back in, saying that wins have to be earned. There's no guarantees. There's no deserves in life. Those are all about earns. So we had to go out there and kind of focus back in, really open our minds to learning more, doing more, and with that first week loss, that kind of helped us do that.
Here with Tom Baleno, the head coach of Union-Endicott's Tigers football team, Section 4 Class A champions. Did you see that in the team at the beginning of the season? Did you see a championship and opportunity for that? I mean, I know a coach wants to win every game, and you have the anticipation and the hope of doing that, the preparation for that. But at the beginning, when you first started practices, did you see something in this team that now that you reflect on it, you go, yeah, you know what? That one or two things that I saw showed me that this could be a championship team. Did you see that in the beginning, or did you see it more throughout?
And it kind of like it grows. Like you never know. Like you're still working with high school kids, so and and injuries can always happen. So we had potential, but what's the phrase? Potential means you haven't done anything yet, right? So we had a few playmakers, right? And we had some, returners coming back, and it always looked, optimistic, but I'm an optimistic guy. Maybe that's why I'm not a gambler, because I think I win every bet, so I don't gamble. Right. Um, so every year, then that's what's great about, sports. It's like after, you can lay an egg one week, but then there's always the next week, right? Until you're in your last week. But there's always the next week to always grow and always come back. And there's always next season. So and you always kind of have that rebirth every year, every season, every game. So that's kind of like why I like doing it, because you can always start over. So and start fresh. So going into the season, I felt confident, and but I feel confident every season. So
In having that confidence that you have, who on this team has displayed that the most for you, leadership wise? Where has that confidence come from when you have to grind it out, when you have to find a way through adversity in a game? Who are some of those people that you've been able to kind of pinpoint and say, okay, those are my coaches on the field, so to speak?
that's a great point, and that's probably one of the things I'm really proud of with this team. I think a lot of our seniors and even a few of our juniors kind of like stepped into that role, that leadership role. Some of them are captains and some are not, but those captains that we have 4 captains this year, and they all had that kind of uh, charisma about them where they can lead their peers. And it's funny because we always talk about leadership, and you always pick captains every year, but how often do you really sit back and actually teach kids on how to be leaders, and what are some of the characteristics on that? So we talk about leadership, but then we we never teach them how to be leaders. So I thought, so I made it, I recognize that, and this was one of the years that I kind of put an emphasis on that. And I sat with them and told them how they could be, leaders in their own right, as long as they're genuine. Some of them are going to be more vocal, right? And some of them are going to more be leaders through example, and just whatever kind of fits your personality, embrace that. And I think that's one reason why we have 4 captains, because they all bring something a little bit different to the table. So I'm really proud of them because they're doing a good job leading the team through example, through sometimes being vocal, and it's been turned out. But the guys take to it because I think they're very genuine in how they lead, and they're very fair as well.
That coming from Tom Baleno, the head coach of the Union-Endicott Tigers, the Class A Section 4 champions here, and for the second consecutive year, winning Section 4 Class A, back-to-back titles here for Union-Endicott. We know that there's a history to this school. There are not only Division One players, but Super Bowl champions that have come through Union-Endicott. What is going on right now that you've been able to have sustained success and win back-to-back titles inside of Section 4 Class A?
Well, Section 4 football is a pretty tough class to win in. A tough section to win in, and Class A is tough to win in as well. So we've been fortunate to have a good feeder programs in the youth. So we have great community support. We have a lot of coaches that are in the district, so they're really able to recruit the hallways and get kids to come out to play in the modified, the JV levels, and then success, and success breeds success. So, kids want to be a part of it. So we're getting more players coming out. Sometimes we're getting some seniors that have never played before, but they feel comfortable that to put themselves on the line and take that risk, and they come out and play. And I don't mean take the risk physically, right? I mean take the risk kind of like more emotionally or ego wise, right? Because you're trying something new, and you kind of have to check your ego at the door, because there will be some experiences of failure, and that's okay. So I'm really proud of the players willing to take a risk on themselves and on the program, and work hard at it.
And when you look at, working hard at what they've done and to get to where they are in this championship game against Vestal, before you got that Section 4 Class A title, you trailed 7-6 at halftime. Then you outscored them in the second half, 23-8. What was it with the halftime adjustments and message that you think led to the surge in the second half?
I don't really even know we adjusted that much. We just had to fine tune what we were doing because we're just making some mistakes, right? And the first time we played in the regular season, I think it was also 7-6 at halftime as well. We were there and we made some mistakes and we said, listen, we just have to stay the course. Don't panic. Don't let the moment get bigger than yourself. Stay the course and things will start happening for us. And we just stayed the course and we still made mistakes in the second half, but not as many. So there's opportunities that we missed in the first half and in the second half, but we're able to kind of overcome it and stay together and kind of fight and battle together, and we came out with a win.
In every game this season that you've gotten a victory, you've scored 30 or more points, except for the game on my birthday on October 21st, your victory over Vestal, 12-7. What was it about that game that the offense just didn't get going? And what did you learn about yourselves in that game? Because facing Vestal in the championship to win the Section 4 Class A title, you won that game 30-14. So in your lowest scoring game of the season, 12-7, that first time around with Vestal, what did you learn about yourselves? And what was it about that game that it played out that way?
Well, I'm happy that we had that close game the first time around, because it's something that's dealing with adversity, right? So, and that's a big thing I've been preaching, with this team about adversity. So, I think it's an Urban Meyer quote, and he talks about adversity and how mediocre teams are destroyed by adversity, while good teams are able to survive adversity, and then great teams become better because of adversity. So we needed to see a little bit of adversity, kind of to help kind of galvanize ourselves even more. So we're a pretty close knit, tight group, and going to battles, with one another and having those close ones and be able to count on each other to do their jobs. I think that helps us. So, and that kind of prepares us for going into the playoffs.
How would you describe the team right now?
They feel pretty good. They're pretty loose, which is nice because it's only Wednesday, right? So you don't want to over peak because it's an emotional game, playing football, and you don't want to get too high too fast throughout the week. So we're kind of like building on that, becoming a little bit more intense today, more intense on Thursday, and then Friday really dial it in, and hopefully that's when we'll kind of like spark up and really get going, and hopefully we'll all catch on fire and we'll have one of those great games.
We know that the playoffs in at least the semifinals and whatnot, the weather was a little bit warmer in sectionals. You're going to get the real feel of Friday Night Lights on Friday, November 18th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. You're going to be at Cicero, North Syracuse, who is hosting. They have their own game on Saturday. You will face off against Section 3 Class A champion West Genesee and the Wildcats. How much do you know about West Genny and Joe Corley's program? And secondly, what are your thoughts about playing a true cold Northeast game that we're all too used to, where it may be somewhere between 28 and 30 something when you kick off?
Well, it's football weather, right? So it's you get the fall air. So I always like when the weather changes from the summer to the fall because it starts feeling like football. Now it feels like playoff football. So, and that's one of our things that we always want to be able to play during Thanksgiving break. So to be able to do that, we know that we're starting to arrive and we're getting closer to our goals. So we're embracing the cool temperatures because that means that we're getting deeper in the playoffs. So that's exciting. West Genny, what I know about them is just really what we see on film from the last couple of games that we exchanged. So they're an athletic, they're a fast team, so they're big. So they're it's going to be a tough one. So they're a finely coached team that's is going to give us everything they got, and hopefully we'll be able to match their intensity and their speed and their size.
And looking at speed and size, you had a substantial run by Komani Vieira Powell in that championship game. What can you say about your rushing attack and about him specifically, as well as what you provide on Union-Endicott?
We have a lot of different guys that we like to get the ball in their hands. So between a Cooper Hughes or a Nick Lang or a Kamani, a Joey Pasquale, through the running the ball, Latrell Jones. We have a lot of guys we want to get the ball to, on the ground, and then there's guys that we want to throw the ball to as well, like a Jaheim Jackson and Musa Garnes, who are taller in stature, who could go up and get the ball. So that's kind of a tricky thing. As it's a good problem to have as an offensive coordinator. It's a kind of a tricky thing to kind of spread it around, right?
Yeah.
And we just have to find who's working, who's having their day, and we'll go from there. So we'll take what the defense can give us, and hopefully that's going to be enough.
Final note here from Tom Baleno, the head coach of Union-Endicott's high school football team here for the Tigers, the Section 4 Class A champions that will take on the Section 3 Class A champion West Genesee Wildcats this Friday, November 18th at 8 p.m. on site at Cicero North, Syracuse. Coming up, about an hour drive for you. Just what you can say about your fan base and your support, and what you want people to know about Union-Endicott, and if you expect them to travel up that hour well and try to warm up there on the bleachers.
Oh yeah, well we have a fan bus going, so we have the student body going up there, so that's nice. Like I said, the UE community loves their football, so and they love Tiger football, so it's always great to have the Sea of Orange, which is what they call our student body in there. The Sea of Orange will be there. Some guys will be shirtless, probably all painted up. So it's nice. And I've had experience teaching at the elementary school and at the high school. So I've known some of these students, since they were 5 in kindergarten. So so we have a great relationship with the Sea of Orange, as us coaching staff does, and with the players really appreciate the fans and their enthusiasm. So it's going to be fun and it's going to be exciting. So, and we're going to give them our best, right? We give our best, and that's all we can do. So, at the end of the day, it's going to be, we're trying to create memories, right? And it's either going to be a happy memory, or it's going to be a nightmare. But either way, you'll be able to live with it if you know that you gave your best. So we want to give our best, and no matter what the outcome is, we'll be able to live with it, because we know that we gave everything we got. So it's gonna be a good one. Last time I think we played West Jenny, I believe I was the defensive coordinator. I want to say that was in 2007 or so, and that was it was a defensive battle. So it was a 21-7 game, and I think three touchdowns were scored by the defense. West Jenny intercepted us 2 times for 2 pick sixes, and we intercepted them 1 for a pick six. And then they scored one other time on a short field on us. So it may be another defensive battle, or maybe I don't know, a game that's going to just be an offensive battle. You don't know what you're going to get. So sometimes you just never know what's going to happen and what those high school kids are going to bring to the table. But hopefully they bring their best. That's all I can ask for.
That coming from Tom Baleno. Tom, I look forward to seeing you on the field. I'll be out there at the game this Friday night. I hope you all will be out there too, that are watching and listening. Friday, November 18th at 8 p.m. Eastern time, on site, on location at CNS. Section 4 Class A Union-Endicott will take on Section 3 Class A West Genesee, on site right there for some Friday night lights. Mr. Baleno, as always, I appreciate you on and off the air. Appreciate our friendship and our connection. Professionally respect you as well, and I look forward to seeing you out there.
Sounds great. I'll see you out there. Wear your warm gear.